And we are back after like 20 minutes of me fucking around with the audio.
Oh my god.
Well, this is why I don't like sagging. So basically what was going on is that Peanut Gallery shit is shit, so it was like wiggling out.
No, it was sagging, and the angle of the plug behind your Mac was such that every time we were speaking, it was vibrating itself out.
Yeah, so we should be good. We're not going to be doing it again.
I told Peanut Gallery, I told Tiger Height to turn his vibrator off, but he just didn't.
Well, I'm going to put in like headphones, so as we go, we'll figure this out. So we don't do this. This is why I do 20 sound tests. Okay.
Well, maybe I'm thinking about getting a Bluetooth. Anyways.
So I mean, at least there's that.
Right.
My mic works perfect, as always. So
of course.
SummerSlam. This was the first major pay-per-view in the Thunderdome.
Yay! Which is not the name of my bedroom.
Yeah, because, when any girl actually is in there, it's not the Thunderdome. It's the...
It's the waterfall, because I'm doing 20 minutes of crying.
Oh, I was going to call it Death Valley, so... Hot, desolate, and void of merit. So...
You're terrible.
When any girl walks in there, they dry up like the fucking
Tiger
Sahara Desert.
Tiger Height, this is a family-friendly show.
I don't know when the fuck
based
this
on
happened.
Good Christian values. So we have a bear that's gonna come eat you because he made fun of me.
A bear?
Yes.
That's the most random thing.
That's the story in Second Kings, I think, where children make fun of the bald guy.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna beat you with a unicycle. So.
Oh, okay.
First match, which was a pre-show match, and thank God it was, because the match was kind of terrible.
It was actually terrible.
Which I was surprised about. Apollo Crews versus MVP for the United States Championship.
Sloppy superplexes, toss powerbomb for the win. Crews to retain.
It was. They were wrestling in concrete.
Yes.
It was really slow.
It was.
Thank God it was on the pre-show.
Right.
That's really all. That's really all that it has to merit.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
Bayley versus Asuka for the SmackDown Women's Championship.
It was a good match.
Jesus.
Roll up
Christ.
for the win after there was an abdominal stretch spot.
It looked really cool. There was
Bayley won. I don't know what they're gonna do with it.
So Sasha Banks took a hip attack and Bayley rolled her up.
Right.
Now the meh ending. So I wrote that as it happened. So my interpretation of what actually happened now is different than when I wrote that.
I mean, it was okay.
Based on the rivalry progression later.
Right. That's true.
There was some ambiance there that was different.
Right.
And I thought that it really came into play.
It was hard to see one before seeing the other.
Right. But now since I saw both, my interpretation of it is different. I thought that the ending was great for later.
Oh yeah.
I just need to keep in mind WWE, when they have a rivalry where you do have that kind of jump,
right,
they know how to do this.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna maybe not do meh ending like that until the end of the show.
If there's something like this going on.
Right.
Okay.
Kevin Owens came out for the next matchup, and this is basically when Peanut Gallery retained the Majestic Champion of the world.
Yep.
Also, I keep getting your messages from seeing the belt, or, oh, my friend took a picture of the championship belt when they were in Vegas, because we live in Las Vegas. They're like, oh, they posted a picture from Vegas on Facebook, and the belt was in there, so we checked it out.
Oh.
I got a couple of those.
Oh.
I thought that was cool.
Anyways, yeah, I retained. I am still the Majestic Champion of the world.
Yes.
The next defense will be on Tuesday.
Yes.
We have one difference
We have one difference. So the Street Profits versus Angel Garza and Andrade for the Raw Tag Team Champions. It was hard to get into this match.
It was. It's hard to get into anything with the Street Profits. Their act is kind of getting old.
It really is, and it's not as it's not as popular.
No.
They're barely defending these tag team belts, and
they've lost its luster. Let's put it that way.
Well, they had some magic because they were always there, but now they're doing all of these comedy things in the back, and they're doing, oh, he's getting poisoned. Well, why the fuck did he wrestle then?
Right.
If you're gonna do a poisoning, Keep going with it. Don't have it, it's 1 week and he's fine. Like, what did she poison him with? Let's have a drawn-out mystery of
And then,
what happened.
Andrade and Angel Garza, they have the chemistry of, like, bullshit.
Together.
They're not good together.
No.
They're not.
Which is so weird because they're very good wrestlers.
They're good individual wrestlers, but they're not a good tag team.
Nah, I'm not a big fan of it. And nothing, like I said, nothing against them, but they look like a thrown together tag team.
They do.
I'm not the biggest of fans. Maybe if they actually maybe if they came out together and they had their own thing, and maybe if they had a name. We said the same thing about Sheamus and Cesaro.
Right.
And then they formed the Bar, and now I look at the Bar fondly because they're good.
Yeah.
So
there we go. Anyways.
So it sucks. It was a payout spinebuster, and Montez's forward. Insane twisting in the air. I'm going to make a cup of coffee. Frog splash for the win. It's kind of insane on how he does that. It's incredible.
All right. So, next minute, yeah.
Well, sometimes he gets so much airtime that he kind of fucks up. It's like, dude, if you're going to, like, flop in the air like a fish, maybe not go, maybe not touch the fucking catwalk.
Right.
But yes, they retained. Hooray, hooray. These titles are dead.
Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville. Easily the worst match of the night.
Okay, so I hated it immediately because not only did they change it from hair versus hair to loser leaves WWE, but then all of a sudden now it's a no disqualification.
Right.
They're like, let's up the ante. Well,
Rose's hair looked horrible. The match was was stiff as a board.
Yeah. So Mandy Rose's hair was like slicked back and like wetted down. So it started, it started to curl right here because this is where it starts to dry.
Yep.
So it looks like my hair when I make it too long.
Yep.
It just looked really bad.
I mean, it was a bad match, bad hair day, and it's like
Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville is so good.
I know.
And I know why she's leaving, so she lost. I'm pissed about that too.
Right, so Mandy Rose won. It was loser leaves WWE. Sonya Deville's leaving because, of course, she now has to deal with legal issues surrounding the stalker.
Yep.
Which was posted about last week, I believe.
Yes, we talked about that last week. It happened the day that we were doing the show.
That's true. Yes, it was. It was the day that we were doing the show, so we did talk about it. She did appear in court. She and Mandy both were in court because they were both there at the time.
Yes.
So, I know that Sonya has some stuff to deal with there. Hopefully, she goes to AEW because we don't want to see her in WWE because she is really good and she needs to bolster up a women's division somewhere else.
Yes. She would be a great asset to anybody. Especially with her promos.
Yes.
It was a multiple knees and a weird angel's wings for Mandy Rose to win.
And Otis came out to celebrate. I'm not sure why later in the night he decided not to go for cashing his Money in the Bank.
Right, I thought that was...
talk about that a little bit later.
Remember, he's Money in the Bank. Once again, here's WWE riding them against the fucking wall and not going all in with Otis. If you want to do Otis, go in with him.
Anyways, moving on. Dominic Mysterio versus Seth Rollins in a street fight.
No. Before we get into that, let's talk about Mandy Rose's worm.
So she's learning how to do the worm. When you learn how to do the worm, you start doing it backwards.
Yeah, but if you do it backwards, start up front and go backwards. Don't get up and then flop more forward. Start forwards and then roll backwards.
No, that's what she did.
No, she didn't.
Yes, she did.
She did the same way that Otis did, except she was learning. When you learn, you stand forward and then you go backwards. She standed backwards and did a pseudo forward, pseudo backwards.
I didn't see that.
Well, you know what? Maybe we should watch it again.
Yeah, maybe we should. It was a lot better than Braun Strowman's worm attempt was.
This is true, but also this is Mandy Rose, who was, I believe, a gymnast, and Braun Strowman is a heavy man. The fact that Otis can do a worm at all is fucking amazing.
Braun Strowman's spine is probably made of titanium.
Probably is.
Anyways, let's move on. Dominik Mysterio versus Seth Rollins in a street fight. Dominik Mysterio's first match, he was okay. He wasn't the best. The match looked a lot better because Seth Rollins really carried it.
Yep, it really did. He really wanted to work with Dominic. Mm-hmm. There were some good things about the match. I thought the storyline thing was awesome.
Yeah, the storyline, probably the best storyline. Well, one of the best storylines going in. There are a lot of good storylines going into this. Who are we kidding?
Right, there are a lot of really good storylines in this, and I thought it was incredible. I thought it
Which
was
is weird because normally I don't say good storylines in WWE in the same sentence.
Once again, this is where it starts out slow and nice, and then you get to some big spots where Dominic was hitting some frog splashes where it looked like that he was trying not to destroy every.
It's almost like Vince McMahon took the night off.
It really is. And also Rollins' play towards Mysterio, where Rey Mysterio was handcuffed.
Yes.
He was going to go after Angie.
Yeah, so Dominic Mysterio's mom, Rey Mysterio's wife, was up at the top of the ramp watching the match, and Seth Rollins was kind of
like
gesturing.
teasing. Yeah, yes. It was really weird, and it was great. Then also at the end where Rey Mysterio got handcuffed at some point in time where they were about to beat him up.
He got handcuffed to a rope, ring rope.
He got handcuffed to a rope, so then Rollins dragged Dominic back in and let Rey Mysterio watch as he was in the ring, hit Dominic with a curb stomp, and then won. So Seth Rollins won. I loved this match.
And then Seth Rollins drops the handcuff keys into Dominic Mysterio's hand.
I loved it.
While Rey was just standing there helplessly. It was just so helpless.
Right. Rey Mysterio sold it great.
Oh, yes.
Awesome. It was so good.
It was a great rivalry. Dominic is decent. He was probably the weakest part of the match, but also, as far as storyline progression goes, he was probably in one of the strongest positions.
Yep. He was a great seller. Murphy and Mysterio got in there very, very briefly. So briefly.
Really, the spotlight was on Rollins and Dominic.
Yep.
But anyways,
which is where it needs to be.
Yep. And let's do Sasha versus Asuka. So.
So the one thing, number one, I like this match more than the Smackdown.
Oh God, yes, this was the best women's match of the night.
I think Sasha Banks and Asuka have much better chemistry overall because their styles are a little more similar than Bayley and Asuka.
Right.
Where Bayley's more, like, with Bayley, she's more of like a utilization heel.
Right.
Where Sasha Banks is still really good, but she's just kind of a cocky bitch.
Right.
So there were wonderful transitions between submissions the entire time.
Yeah, there was that really good, like in the middle, there was that really good, good sequence.
Bank statement into an armbar, into the Asuka lock, back into the bank statement, back into something else. It was so fluid.
It was.
It looked like on the fly butter. Boom. That's how it's done.
Right.
I was so happy with it.
So, anyways, Asuka won. It was an
Asuka
match.
lock. Wait, before we get into this, the ending sequence, it was almost to the exact T of what happened with the Bayley match.
Right.
But the difference was Sasha Banks took the bump from Asuka's hip attack where Bayley just moved out of the way.
Right.
Asuka was able to get her bearings back out of the rope, took a swing, and then the ending sequence happened where Asuka won.
Right.
So then there was immediate dissension between Sasha Banks and Bayley.
Right.
And I'm going to say this again. I think it should have been Sasha Banks and Bayley for all the gold.
Right.
Why they had Asuka do this, I will never know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's stupid. Maybe they just were like, oh, once again, this is where WWE gets their cold feet and thinks differently. It's super weird.
Anyways, Drew and Randy was the next match.
Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton.
Key in this match, though, was Drew and Randy did not hit their finishers once during this match.
They went for a bunch of times.
They did. So,
Randy Orton plays mind games so well, where Drew McIntyre rolled out of the ring at one point because he's like, oh my God, he's getting in my head.
Right.
This is where you have a slow build into something great, and then
they had a tremendous match.
Yep.
Drew McIntyre won with the baseball. It
was a baseball slide.
That was it. It was anticlimactic, but it's one of those things where
honestly, this is where an anticlimactic finish worked.
But that was exactly, because you know that this is going to be this rivalry is going to continue.
Yeah, and I'm very excited about that because really, who else can go after Drew McIntyre at this point? I thought with the baseball slide, it was like, oh, maybe Randy Orton beat himself, not Drew McIntyre beating Randy Orton.
Right.
So I love this. I loved this match. Drew McIntyre continuing his reign, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Randy Orton did not look weak at all.
Right.
And they just told a really good story. This was an awesome match. I loved it.
It was. Anyways, main event: Braun, Bray.
So Braun Strowman versus Bray Wyatt for the Universal Champion in a false count.
Easily, probably the best storyline going into this, in my opinion.
This match was lame.
It was.
I was so bored.
It was so disappointing.
There
weren't a lot of spots outside the ring. They only went to the back once. Being a false count anywhere, you would kind of expect there to be a little more freedom.
Right. I thought they were going to play on what happened with Smackdown, where it was a choke slam off of the thing into there. I thought they were going to do something with that. They just didn't.
No.
They're like, oh, let's go into gorilla position, and then come back with a gorilla position, and that was it.
Yeah.
Braun Strowman brought up the wooden boards, and
he didn't do a very good job.
No,
he wasn't very graceful with it. It was kind of bad.
It was really bad.
And then Bray Wyatt. Well, they tried to do stuff onto the wood, but they missed every single time.
It looked really bad.
It looked really bad.
It was sloppy. It was plodding. These guys were not on their game.
No, they were not.
But Bray Wyatt...
I really wanted an appearance from Alexa Bliss to do some of that mind...
Right, where in the hell was Alexa Bliss?
I expected more mind games. I expected more mind games.
I totally forgot about Alexa Bliss.
And they had the Fiend come out before Braun. You would have Braun come out first and then the Fiend, right?
For the most part, yes.
I mean, that would just make sense. It's just like, why would you have the Fiend come out first and then Braun come out afterwards?
Right. Anyway, the Fiend did win. He is the Universal Champion again.
And then Roman Reigns
returned. He speared both of them.
Yep.
Attacked both of them.
He hit Braun Strowman with a bunch of chair shots. So Braun Strowman was laid out on the outside of the ring. He spears Bray Wyatt. He holds up the Universal Champion over his head. That was it. That was the end. And then we have Otis here, who is a SmackDown superstar and has the Money in the Bank contract. And you could easily have him beat the Fiend or pin the Fiend because the Fiend is laid out.
Right. And I guarantee you Alexa Bliss is going to be there on SmackDown. I guarantee you.
But so you're missing Alexa. You're missing Otis.
Alexa was an integral part in this rivalry.
Right. You're missing, Roman Reigns coming back. Great. Perfect. I think he's a heel. Tiger Height doesn't think he's a heel.
Braun Strowman's a definite heel.
Roman Reigns is a heel.
No.
He talked like a heel. He acted like a heel. Oh, he's out for blood is what he's out for.
I don't agree with you. I'm sorry. I can't agree with you. He is not a heel. He is a babyface. Well, he's an anti-hero.
He is okay, fine. He's an anti-hero, but he's not going to be cheered by the crowd. I think people will get behind Braun Strowman before they get behind Roman Reigns.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Bullshit.
Oh, absolutely. They're going to get behind the Fiend. The Fiend is babyface and all this.
Yeah, no. The Fiend is a pseudo babyface.
But the Fiend is loved by all.
Well, yeah, everybody loves the Fiend. So really, that was SummerSlam. Let's do the same thing. So overall star for the show, and then favorite match. And, apparently you're not a pseudo-masochist to actually do a bad match.
I know what the worst match of the night is. Do you really want me to give you the worst match of the night?
We
both have the same match.
Let's say it together.
Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville. Okay.
You can tell we're brothers, okay?
Best match of the night, Drew and Randy.
100%.
Star rating, I'll give it a 3. It was decent. There were more good matches and bad matches.
I'm going to give it a 3.5, almost 4. I'm going to give it a high-end 3. Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Yep. Oh, that is not good.
I liked it. I liked more things than I hated.
So I hated 1.
What was number
2. Oh, Apollo Crews and MVP.
It's a pre-show. It doesn't count.
Yes, it does.
Nope.
You have to give it a 3 then, because you have to take a half point off for that.
No. It's pre-show.
Apollo Crews and MVP sucked.
Nope. Pre-show.
And then Braun Strowman, the Fiend, as the main event. Terrible.
It was so fuck. They had good matches too, and
they should have switched Bayley, Asuka, and Mandy Rose Sonya, so that would be the first match of the night. They should have put the Raw Women's Champion match in between the two title matches, and should have had Braun Strowman, Bray Wyatt before the Raw Women's Champion and the WWE Champion.
Right? Why wasn't WWE? Well, because because Roman Reigns was coming back.
Yeah,
that's kind of
maybe.
why they wanted to end the show, at least on a higher note, where SmackDown now has a new person in because they really need some star power.
Oh, you mean Roman Reigns, the heel?
The anti-hero.
The not baby face.
Anyway, we're almost at 20 minutes, so that is SummerSlam.
What is our topic for next week? We are going to do Emergence Night 2.
Oh my god, so next week we are doing Emergence Night 2, Payback, and Summer Struggle in Jinju. So don't miss that, and if you want to watch it with us and drink with us and maybe be in our Thunderdome where you can show whatever you want, maybe, if you're hot. So if you want to do that, which is fine, go ahead and become a patron.
Right.
And you get to watch not only these 3 events, but every single event that happens in September. So you get it's like $50. You watch NJPW, Impact Wrestling, you watch WWE with us, NXT, the whole gamut. So it's a lot of fun.
Anyways, so yes. Thank you guys. Yes, follow us on social media.
Yeah.
Go to our Patreon page, and as always, be
majestic.